Dokenyakum, Daiwachi Manage Owichigisa Imagiyabano. It's your boy Jah'kota, and I'm here talking about my tracks on my album Indigenize. And the song I'm going to be talking about is Indigenize. And this is definitely one of my favorite songs up to date that I've created. And you know, this one is kind of a longer story. You know, when Canada celebrated their 150th of Confederation, there was a lot of pushback within the Indigenous community to make sure that we're not celebrating 150 years of colonization. And so I saw a lot of news feeds and posts about, you know, how angry they are and how much we should go out there and protest and, you know, just boycott Canada Day. To me, that's not a solution. To me, that's just stirring the pot. That's adding fire to the flame. Like, that to me is not a good approach. And so I had to really think about, well, what am I gonna do about it? And so I took some time to really self-reflect, and the word indigenize just came to me. I've never heard it before, and as I did my digging, indigenize definitely is a discourse that exists. But I've never heard that term used before ever in my life. So it wasn't like I got it from somewhere, it just came to me. And so I took this word and I'm like, indigenize, that feels like a positive solution. And so I had to really digest and dissect what indigenize means. And so I took it home to the place that I feel the most safe. I spoke with my mom, my mom's husband, Eric Gumon, my sister, and my auntie, who's actually chief of our First Nation in Oceanman. Shout out to Oceanman First Nation in Saskatchewan. And she was visiting, so it was perfect timing. And so I took this word home and I put it out on the table, and we had this open conversation about what indigenize could mean. And then at the end of it, we defined it as acknowledge, learn, and celebrate Indigenous people within Canada. It's broad but specific. Acknowledge our past. Acknowledge the real history of what took place and how Canada even became a country. The fact that Canada itself is a Haudenosaunee word, Ganada, which means village or home. Like, our country is named after Indigenous languages, and actually all of our provinces are also named after Indigenous languages. We need to acknowledge these things. Acknowledge the territory that you're on. That if you're living in Ottawa, acknowledge that you're on unceded Algonquin territory. Acknowledge these things. Learn about topics that impact our Indigenous peoples and impact our communities. Missing and murdered Indigenous women. Suicide rates in northern communities are 11 times the national average. That is ridiculous. Learn about these things. Why do we protest against pipelines? If you dig and learn far enough, you'll realize it's because indigeneity has everything to do with your relationship to the land. So when you're abusing the land or when you're polluting the land, we feel a duty to step up and protect that. So learn about these things and you'll realize how our indigeneity and you'll learn about our culture and the intent of why we do what we do. Take your time to learn about role models and leaders who are making positive changes in this country. Murray Sinclair, Cindy Blackstock, Wab Canoe. There's so many young people out there who are doing everything that they can to advocate for positive change and be positive role models. Our young people are graduating university or graduating high school and being put into positions of power. That's amazing. Learn about that and you'll realize how beautiful it is. And that kind of leads into the last one, is celebrate. Celebrate our resiliency, because they tried to kill the Indian and the child, but it didn't work. And instead of dying, we multiplied. So celebrate our resiliency. Celebrate the culture, because the culture is not about one race or about one nation. The culture is about human beings. And we learn from nature about how to survive in life. And that's really what our culture is all about, is learning how to maintain balance with yourself, with the community, and with the world around you. And so celebrate these things. Come to our powwows, come to our events, come to a panel discussion, come to our documentary releases, come and learn, come and celebrate, come and hang out with us. I promise we're peaceful, and we come from a loving place. So Indigenize is really all about acknowledging, learning, and celebrating our indigenous people within this country. And that's the name of this album. And I think that's a perfect title because it encompasses all of the tracks that we talked about. It encompasses all of the things that I've experienced personally, and it encompasses all the action that needs to take place. And so this album not only is something to listen to, but this album is something that you can learn from. This album can be an education tool. So if you're a student, or you're a teacher, you're a classroom, or you're just a learner, and you're curious about this whole indigenous thing, you can pick up this album and you can learn a lot from it, and you can feel a lot from it. And so Indigenize is the title of this album. It's also one of my favorite tracks that I've made to date, and I hope you enjoy it. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. Pinam Yaye, and I wish you all the best. Wash day.